Hello, everybody. It's Jody Franklin here. And today I have Brian Dubiak and Joanne Iverson from Evexia Diagnostics. And I am thrilled to have them here today. I try to bring you all the best resources because, it's tough being a coach. And I will say that I have been using Evexia Diagnostics now for, I think, a couple of years now. And it's been transformative for my practice because it's so hard to get lab work. And if you want to use lab work with your clients' labs, you have to send them to their doctor to get the labs, and they may not get everything that you want, and they may not have heard of any functional labs. So it was a struggle prior to this, or you have to partner with, a medical practitioner to get labs. Well, you don't have to do this anymore. And Evexia Diagnostics has agreed to let our group get a free setup. So this was a $250 charge to get this lab setup, this fee, this enrollment fee for their program. They're waiving that for us by using our link. So if you can sign up today for Evexia Diagnostics for no enrollment fee, and you'll be able to facilitate getting lab work for your clients. So I use this all the time. I need a thyroid panel. I want to know what the free T3 is and the antibodies or whatever I'm doing. I go ahead and order them right through Evexia, and they send the requisition via email to my client. This is a USA company and in parts of Canada, and they go ahead and send the requisition to my client. They just go into a LabCorp, get the draw done, and I have the results. It's absolutely incredible. It's actually even cheaper than them going through their insurance most of the time, because the insurance the lab companies jack up the price so significantly. This is very reasonably priced. I can get like basic lab work. I can get specialty lab work. I can get stool tests, organic acids tests. If any of you are more versed in learning that, you're going to be able to get all those things. And there's over 6,000 conventional and specialty labs, and they're going to tell you a little bit more about that today. But you also have access to their clinicians who sign off on these labs, and their clinicians can answer your questions. So if you have a quick question about a lab marker and you're not quite sure about it, you can shoot an email or a chat to them, and they will answer your questions. And the other thing you can do is, if you want to sit down for half an hour with that clinician and go through the labs with them, it's just $75 to do that. So you can get answers to your questions on the lab work from a functional medicine physician on staff at Evexia. So, it's a win-win situation. You can create custom lab panels for your clients. And also you will have access to their nutraceuticals, their supplements through their physician network. So many benefits to doing this. No startup fee. Terry's going to go ahead and put the link in the comments below and in the chat thread here on Zoom. But I want to say welcome to Brian and Joanne. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to have you here.
Perfect, Jody. Nice to meet you, and thank you very much for letting us come in to chat with your members today.
Absolutely. So did you want to go ahead and start and explain a little bit about Evexia? I know you had some slides today, Brian.
Yeah.
So
perfect. So so with today, we are going to go over two aspects of Evexia. We want to go over first really more about the marketing and the business aspects of how to use labs with your clients. And then at the end of the presentation, we're going to get more into the nuts and bolts about questions like, what state can I do? Can I interpret? How to order lab tests? What's the pricing? So there's going to be two aspects of today's presentation, Jody, that we'll be going over. So to really get into the business and the marketing aspect, we're using a lot of times with health coaches, and I am a health coach, with Institute of Integrative Nutrition and many other things, and working with thousands of clients and even physicians throughout the last decade. How do we get people to want to come and use our services? I've seen everything from, hey, I've gone to school, I've learned some of the clinical aspects, I want to now go help people, but why aren't they giving me a call? Why am I not helping? I went to school to learn these things. And, I'm offering free consultations, I'm offering free services, but yet no one's knocking on my business over and over for me to help them. So what I want to do is I want to share a little story that using lab testing as a call to action offer. And I like to coin the term called consumer driven lab test marketing, on how over the last 3 years, By adopting that type of marketing for some of our clients, we were able to get almost 100 to 200 new leads a month and build a multi-million-dollar cash-based medical practice within 3 years. And that's all we did. We simply just advertised lab testing to the end client. So when we're looking at the health coach business, we want to look at three things. What do clients want? Not what we want in our practice or our business. What does the client want? What does the consumer want? And first and foremost, after talking to thousands of clients, they want answers. Why do I feel the way that I do? I'm frustrated. I went to my doctor. He's not ordering lab testing. I've been on medications. I've been on supplements. I've tried diet after diet, and yet I still don't feel, I don't feel right. I'm not getting the answers. I'm not getting the results. So in any type of business, we got to find out, what does the consumer want? Then from a coaching standpoint, they want personalization a lot of times. They want to feel unique. How is this appropriate to my situation and to my life and to my symptoms? And lastly, they want to know, how are you going to support me? How am I going to get the results that you've worked with client after client after client? So today we're really going to dive into the answer aspect. It's a new way of marketing. It's a new way of attracting clients. And what I like to do when we work with coaches and practices, what are other businesses doing that are successful, and how can we adopt that business model to what we're doing? So it's over the last maybe 5 to 10 years. I don't know how many people are really talking. I mean, I talked to a lot of coaches and practitioners about this. It's called direct-to-consumer lab testing. This is where people are empowered. They want information at their fingertips, and they want the lab test that they want. And these companies are saying, hey, you want to learn more about your GI? You want to learn about thyroid or cholesterol or estrogen and testosterone? You can now bypass your physician, and we'll actually order the labs directly from you. And this is a multi-billion-dollar industry that's growing more and more and more, because that's all people want. They want answers. So over the last 5 to 10 years, this is a $2.4 billion industry. In 2020, $2.4 billion industry, it's grown at 26% a year. Now, a lot of times as people have heard, they might have heard of Everlywell, Let's Get Checked, 23andMe, Viome, and even Quest now, right? Quest is a hallmark to physicians. You know, I write a script, I go to Quest, I get the labs go back to my doctor, and the doctor says, hey, you know what? I'll give you a call if there's any issues. And by the way, I'm only going to give you a lipid panel, a CMP, and maybe a CBC. And, you know, if they're having a good day, they'll throw in a TSH test, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, but you're fine. It's part of aging, right? It's part of, you know, getting older. That's why you feel the way you do. You're stressed. Here's a medication. So even Quest now says they have something called Quest Direct, and you could go directly to consumers. Now, Viome, I just saw a Facebook ad this week. They have over 250,000 clients that use Viome to get a DNA check of their microbiome with personalization of probiotics. So what we tell coaches is, if these companies, they're on the cusp of something, if they're making billions and billions of dollars going direct to consumer talking about lab testing, why aren't we as health coaches and practitioners, why aren't we offering lab testing? We need to build a reason why they want to see us. Not, hey, I'm going to offer you a 4-week program, an 8-week program, a 12-week program, and I help you lose weight. But what's wrong with me? How are you going to customize it? So let's build an emotional reason of why to have them come and see you. So we did a little analysis. And if these companies are the leaders in direct-to-consumer lab testing, I mean, here's the prices. We did a cost comparison. I mean, just to get a vitamin D test, just from Everlywell and Let's Get Checked, we're at $49 to $89. See, being part of your network, Jody, your members are going to have access to Evexia because they're in your network. Our vitamin D tests start at $18 just for vitamin D. And a lot of times, I mean, we'll want to run maybe thyroid panels, a TSH, a T3, T4, maybe some antibodies. I mean, our thyroid test just for TSH, T3, T4, $24. But if these companies are making billions and billions of dollars going direct to consumer, charging $29, and in your network, we're charging $24. I mean, this is an add-on. This is a great benefit for coach clients to be able to offer this.
It's huge. And I love the price point. It's such a benefit where people say, oh, my copay is so high on these labs. And, you know, they can just get it for less than what their copay is. It's crazy.
Yeah. So one of the things that, we transformed this functional medicine practice. I mean, this functional medicine practice that I was working with, we tried everything from an advertising standpoint, and we said, you know what, stop it. Let's stop offering coaching and dieting, and let's stop promoting it. Let's just start telling people this. Let's put in their mind. Let's find out why you feel the way you do. Are you frustrated? We got to start asking pain points of consumers. And then that's what we did. We did a 60 plus biomarker hormone lab test for $199. Now, when patients are saying, oh, okay, and it's cash based. Though consumers would say, patients and clients would say, well, I'm going to run this through my insurance. Here's what we started seeing. Out of network insurance, we're billing at almost $5,500 for this panel. And if you were in network, even as the physician basically signed off on everything, they were still getting billed $2,000, $3,000, and $4,000. So if their deductible is $2,500, they're still getting a $2,500 bill sent to them just for lab testing. We were able to offer that almost 80 to 90% off of insurance rates. But even better yet, even if your clients are going to these other companies, we're still 70, 80% less than the other direct-to-consumer lab testing companies. So that's why I tell doctors and coaches, why don't you be that micro direct-to-consumer practice? Start offering lab testing. Start being that resource. And then when they get these testing, they're going to say, I didn't know I had Hashimoto. I didn't know. I've been on Synthroid for 15 years. Why didn't my doctor catch this? And then all of a sudden, you were the one who offered the lab testing. They have that now trust, bond, and rapport. Now they want help. You just discovered a need of why they wanted to help you. So we test over 6,000 labs. These are just some of our partners. I mean, I've used LabCorp, Doctors Data, Diagnostic Solutions. They have a great DNA microbiome test, real-time laboratories, mycotoxin testing. So from A to Z, once you become a member of Evexia Network through your network, Jody, is that Joanne and the team at Evexia, they'll work with your coaches on finding what lab testing works really best from their practice and how to implement within their practice. Now, I get to answer all questions all the time. As a coach, how do I do this? Right? I'm not a licensed practitioner. See, with Evexia, we have an EIPN number and a network of physicians in 47 states, not New York, New Jersey, or Rhode Island, that health coaches now are able to offer a limited amount of lab testing, probably about 5,000, 6,000 lab tests, right? From LabCorp to Diagnostic Solutions to 20 partners. They could offer these lab testing for their clients, and our physicians will actually sign off on those lab testing. Whether it's a blood draw through LabCorp, where your clients will get a script, or we'll actually drop ship specialty kits directly to your client's home, where they could collect a specimen, send it in, and then within maybe 7 or 10 days, as a health coach, right in your Evexia portal, you actually get to see all your clients' results. So I mean, that's the beauty with Evexia. We allow the client health coaches to be able to start offering lab testing to consumers through Evexia Direct. Now, what we've also seen a lot of times is that I know we have HCN, we have this panel that we have for your coaches that they could actually offer the panels that you utilize in your practice. They could offer these same panels to their clients. In addition, they could actually also create various other panels. So whether they have a thyroid client or a energy or cardiovascular, you're able to collect and create your own panels for your own clients. What's nice too is you actually get to see all the pricing when you're creating your panels. And when you're offering the HCN panels to your clients, one of the big sticking points I've always heard from clients is this: I go get a lab, I go to a hospital, I go to a doctor, and 3 to 4 weeks later, I get a surprise bill. People want price transparency. So with Evexia, you'll know exactly every price to every lab biomarker. So you could actually now start showing transparency to your clients. So if they want a TSH, a free T3, a free T4, let's say thyroid body antibodies, it might be $107, $110 your cost. You're able to tell consumers and your clients, here's what the cost for a whole thyroid panel, right? This is what people want. They don't want that surprise anymore. Now, what took our practices with our coaches in their businesses and practitioners to the next level is how many times have clients, consumers, they go to the doctors, right? They go to Quest, they go to LabCorp, they get back, and all of a sudden they see this report and they're like, all these lab marks, I don't know what it means. I don't know what this means to my health. So if your consumers and clients go get their labs done, we have a functional health report. This is a 15+ page functional medicine report that your clients get to give them an oversight. Patients and clients, they love the aspect of seeing green, yellow, red, magenta, where their health is. We also take a lot of their labs and we create categories from a functional medicine standpoint, your adrenal parts of your body, your thyroid, your cardiovascular. We also show rationale of if your immune system's low, we'll show what nutrients are contributing to a low immune system. And then there are also micronutrient and macronutrient ratios and suggestions of what nutrients you might be low in. This is a 15+ page report. So a lot of times coaches will say, well, Ryan, I didn't go to school for lab interpretation. I have to look at the scope of what I could do as a coach. So with your clients, you're able to give them this 15-page report and they're able to see all these results and they could actually read these reports on what that lab means from a functional medicine standpoint.
Right. It's you all are not diagnosing. That's out of scope of practice.
Yes.
But you're giving them information and educating them on what's going on. And I love that you can also compare, you can sort of blurry, but you can see that you can, when you test again, you can see the improvement. And a lot of health coaches are concerned because their clients don't comply to things. When they see the evidence of where their triglycerides are, and you explain to them that this is a sign of insulin resistance or their hemoglobin A1C, or, when you explain to them what's going on and you're allowed to explain and educate them on their labs, that is perfectly within scope of practice. You're just educating. You're not telling them, you're not diagnosing. But when you do that, their compliance goes through the roof. It's a wake-up call. And then they see their improvement and they get validation that, wow, working with this person's really helped me because look at how much better my triglycerides are and my risk of heart disease is so much lower now and I'm not pre-diabetic anymore. And, so I just love this. It's a tool. And I think every health coach should really seriously consider doing this. And I love that you also give functional ranges, optimal ranges versus standard ranges, because standard ranges are somebody goes to the doctor and gets a report. It represents 90% of the population, or it's 90 or 95. I think it's even 95. But if you look around you, are 95% of the people out there healthy and in optimal health ranges? There's no way. So you get these functional ranges where they're tighter ranges of where things will get flagged more. So if they're insulin resistant, it's going to get flagged instead of waiting till they have pre-diabetes or diabetes, right? So I love that. I love this report. I use this all the time, and it's been a great tool for my practice.
Sure. Yeah, because as you can see, Jody, people are very visual, right? And by having, as you see in the functional health report, yellows, red, and magenta, that's where people start seeing that spectrum. Because how many times you go in and says, okay, well, my hemoglobin A1C is 6.3, 6.4. Doctors are saying, okay, you're not diabetic, but you're on that spectrum. So that's where that optimal range from a functional medicine, we're able to show that. And the patient and client retention is that a lot of times when the clients see these are the labs, and then you're able to start coaching that client, and then you do the same lab panel 30, 60, 90 days later. And when they could start visually seeing that progress, that's when they say, wow, that coaching, this eating, this behavior, it's working. These are things that I've never done in my past. No one showed me this. Then they're able to continue on with you month. And that's where you get more of that lifetime value of that client, because you're working with you for multiple months rather than just 4 weeks.
Definitely. And it will definitely distinguish you as a coach in a sea of health coaches out there. And you're more likely to get referrals. I think it just up levels your practice so much when you can use this tool.
So one of the things that we like to do with the marketing aspect is that functional health report is if from a client, we're able to do certain aspects of helping at Evexia marketing for the health coach. So we could sometimes put logos on those functional health reports, and we could actually provide the sales sheet. So many times people are like, hey, I'm really interested in this GI map. I'm really interested in this type of organic acid testing, right? How can I pass out this information instead of just talk about it? We have these sheets that we're able to give to our coaches that they could actually share on their social media platforms. They can mail it out. They could email that out. We have all those resources that we could actually help coaches behind the scenes.
That's awesome.
And it goes in the next is saying, I like health coach business models, right? I love the clinical aspect. I love empowering people and coaching and supporting them, but we want to make this a business. I wanted to see is How can we get people in the door, and how do we become profitable so we can pay our expenses and have a life or a business that this is a full-time business? So many times we're usually at that 2, 3, and 4 mark when we're running health coaches. Hey, let's do a consultation. Let's talk about what we do. Let's then maybe talk about personalization, and then let's start maybe coaching and supporting that client. What we want to do is we want to disrupt that typical health coach model. Is we want to say is, how do we start getting new clients in the door? And that's where we like the consumer-driven lab testing model. And that's what attracts new clients. So instead of saying, hey, let's advertise 4-week or an 8-week or a 12-week program, let's start saying, I have this lab. And, for years and years and years, I've been battling this without any answers. And you take this lab report, whether it's a microbiome or a heavy metal test, or, with a functional health report, and you just show it. You show it on social media. You show it to your friends, your family, your community, of saying, I found these answers. Would you like lab testing? I can help get you the same lab test panels that has helped myself and other clients. So what we like to do is we tell these practitioners and coaches, find 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 people that are frustrated with their health, that they're having issues. Get them a lab panel. Go through the process. Let them get lab results. Let them get a functional health report, and then let them share on social media. Ask them permission. Have them sign off a consent form. Talk to people about how people's lives are being transformed because they're finally getting answers. Put it on social media. Do Facebook advertising. Talk to influencers. No, I've been doing this for so long. I don't see many health coaches out there, even practitioners, to be honest with you, promoting lab testing to get people in the door. And that is the new way of getting clients in the door. As you alluded to a little bit earlier, Jody, Evexia has this feature, and Dr. Sodano, he's absolutely brilliant from a lab interpretation standpoint. He's like that backdrop for us, right? That foundation, like, hey, I got this patient and this client, and they have elevated TSH, but their cortisol is really low. What does this even mean? See, Evexia, you're able to chat with Dr. Sodano, and he's able to help you understand what that client's labs means above and beyond. And I know Joanne shortly, she's now going to go in. Now, she's the guru at Evexia. She onboards her clients. She actually will go over how Evexia works, how to sign up, how to choose the lab testing, and on. So Joanne, I'm going to, if you could go over some of these frequently asked questions, and also some of the chats questions that we have coming in.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah, everybody, my name is Joanne Iverson. I'm our Director of Client Relations here at Evexia. So I oversee the development and support of our new and existing clients. I also do personally onboard, answer questions, and I really work with our licensed practitioners and our non-licensed. So I know that there's been several questions. Jody, is my sound okay?
Yes,
at this point
great.
with all that? Great. So there were a lot of questions that were answered or that were posed with this. And I can just kind of answer those questions on there. Again, we get the question all the time, how non-licensed practitioners can order labs. You are able to order any of those 6,000 labs working with our 20 lab partners as a non-licensed practitioner. You are signing up as a non-licensed practitioner. So all of those orders are going to be under an Evexia doctor's NPI number and our licensure. We are overseeing those orders and providing a platform that, rather than having to refer those patients back to doctors for those labs, you as clinicians are able to order any of those labs all in one portal, all in one place. The only restrictions for not being able to offer lab testing is New York, New Jersey, and Rhode Island. It really has to do with state laws for billing. So those are the only states that we are not able to provide that testing in. We do work in Canada as well as those 47 other states in the US. As far as the client pay, the options for payments, when you sign up with Evexia, you'll put a credit card on file. Again, there's no enrollment fee. We are waiving that through the HCEN 250 discount code that Terry and Jody can, that you all have. So we will either bill the practitioner when those results come back, or we do offer Evexia Direct. That is our patient pay platform.
Or I have a question about that. If they use the link that Terry put in the comments, will that lead, do they still need to use that code when they sign up to get the discount, or is it automatically on that link? Do you know?
What it'll ask is just their clinician information, email address, phone number, how they heard about Evexia, and then the last page of that will ask for a discount code or coupon. And
Okay,
so
so
that is where they're going to put it.
HCEN 250 it stands for Health Coach Educational Network 250. And the other thing, when she says clinician, it can be health coach. There are a lot of clinicians that use Evexia as well, but you don't have to be to do this. So just to clarify that.
Thank you. You're right. So we could either build the clinician's credit card on file or the health coach's credit card on file and have those labs and other services paid for direct with the patient or the client back to the clinician or the health coach. Or we offer Evexia Direct. That is our patient pay platform where health coaches can create the order. The order can be sent to the patient to pay. They can use flexible spending. They can use health savings dollars, can download a copy of their receipt for that, but it will not have any CPT codes or diagnosis codes because we don't do any billing with insurance.
Right. So Stacy was asking that question. No, it doesn't go through insurance, but they can use an HSA or FSA card or whatever to get the labs. That's awesome.
If the clients are paying us directly for those labs, they pay a flat 5% more. So they are really being able to take advantage of just a 5% on top of the clinician price. And we have that just to manage credit card transactions and work through questions with patients.
Right.
With that. How can I send lab scripts or kits? If anything is going to be ordered through LabCorp and conventional labs, there will be an order form will be created within 30 seconds once an order is created in Evexia link. That is an order form for LabCorp. Patients can go or clients can go to any LabCorp draw center. They can schedule with a link to make an appointment. If it is anything that's going to be our specialty labs, GI Maps, Cell, Genova, any of that, it will be able to drop ship a kit directly to that client. We also can provide kits directly to the health coaches. We do see more and more wanting us to drop ship that kit directly to that end client. And inside any of the specialty kits, of course, is going to be the order form, the instructions, overnight shipping, all of that is going to be in there so that a client can do the testing and be able to ship that back to the actual testing laboratory. We went over the interpretation with that. So again, there's going to be access on your Evexia account. On the left-hand side is a tab that's called Ask the Doctor, and that is where they're able to do an email consultation with Dr. Sodano. Again, it could be a question on what type of lab to do, or as a result comes back, I'm new to Dutch. This is my first organic acids. Please review this result for me. He is fantastic at that. So they could either do the live email consultation or sign up for a live consultation. Jody had alluded to that. There is a $75 fee for that. It'll take you right to his Zoom calendar link to get that scheduled. There is no enrollment fee with HCEN. We do charge a $50 annual client participation fee. So that does auto renew after 12 months. Part of those services does include the marketing solutions that we're able to co-brand and the videos for you, access to, of course, Dr. Sodano, our client support team of specialists. We are here Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are always available during those hours. We have a great team here. Live chat is also available for any questions and an email address that's answered in the hour. Does Evexia help me with learning how to use the platform? Yes. When you have access to Evexia, there is a full test menu that you're going to be able to navigate through. You will be able to see all of those 20 specialty labs that will be broken out. So further information very specific to all the labs in the specialties section. It'll provide turnaround time, analytes, a sample report, what that test is used for. So as you click on each of our laboratory partners or you are searching specifically for a test, there's sample reports and a lot of information that's going to be really useful with that. We have a tools and a client resources section. Within that tools and the client resources section, it's broken out into some various features that are in there. One will go in more details on the marketing solutions that Brian had showed that slide for. Also, another box or an area that you're able to see more on Dr. Sodano. We also have a link to the Evexia webinar series. We are doing about 2 webinars a month now. There was one we did last night with KBMO for food inflammation. A week before that, it was with Dutch on stress resilience. So we have all of our webinars that are, we have live webinars, and then those are recorded, and those are all stored in the Evexia webinar series section.
That's awesome. I have to say, great resource library. So if you're not 100% sure of, you know, the labs and how to interpret them, you can just go to that resource library and say, okay, I want to do a Dutch hormone test and I want to know more about it before I order it. You can go ahead and listen to the webinars on them and learn. I mean, you can learn so much just from this resource library. It's that alone is worth worth the price of admission. And again, they're waiving that $250 setup fee for our group. So I love that.
Now, Jody, I know there's a few. Is there any other questions or from the audience?
So let's see. The custom panel's a game changer. Yes. By the way, very user friendly as far as custom panel. I was using different lab companies, and some of them are harder to use. Let's see. There's a question, as a practitioner, this one's a practitioner, can we pick where we get our lab tests done? I didn't see Great Plains labs on your slide. Would you still be able to use them as part of Evexia? I believe you do offer Great Plains labs, right?
We do not offer Great Plains.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No.
Yeah. So as a practitioner, it's easy enough to get an account with them. They do offer other organics acids testing, correct?
We have a few organic acids. So yes, Genova has one. Diagnostic Solutions just came out with a new organic acids test, and US Biotech also has organic acids.
Yeah. So those are all good. I've used Genova in the past. And do you suggest building this to your client package, or is that too difficult because in the beginning you aren't sure what to test for until you know the individual client's needs? So for me, I can answer that. I generally meet with the client first and get any existing lab work that they already have before I even meet with them. And then based on their health history and their symptoms and their labs that I've already seen, I can then say, okay, this is what I think we should, this is the direction I think we should head. I'd like more clarification here. Why don't we get this lab ordered for you? And, you know, and then they're usually like, yeah, let's do that. So that's what I do, but I'm sure there's different ways of doing it. I'm going to be offering a group program or another group program. Some of those, we just include the labs automatically if we know it's a specific thing that we do need a lab for. So for example, if you're doing a thyroid course, group thyroid course, you might want to do group thyroid panels for everybody in the group before you start the course. So you have the data. So it really depends, I guess, is the answer. Brian, do you have any insight on that?
It's what I've worked in the past is that people want information now. They want on demand. And what we've done is I've worked with a lot of coaches and practitioners that says, hey, you know what? I want to see the patient first. I want to see the client first. I want to look at their health history, and then I can make the recommendations. But, you know, how do we get the people in the door? And sometimes it's like, let's create a basic lab test, whether it's maybe 20, 30, 40 markers. These are things that you're going to need anyways, like your CMPs and your lipids and maybe insulin and you know, DHEA and cortisol. Give them maybe the lab test up front. Give them a reason to want to see you. And when then they come in, you could say, okay, hey, we're going to get this lab test for now. We'll send you the script. I'm going to also email you an intake form. So by the time they even come into the door, you already have their lab results, you already have their intake form, and you already have that next step. So you really cut out that whole initial first consultation. Because remember, people want to progress quickly when they're sick. And that way, from that first consult, at least you have all the labs, you have all their intake forms. Then you could then say, you know what, based off of these labs and intake form, we could either start a program or let's peel off another layer and let's get a little bit more testing because I need to go a little bit more in depth with you. But at least give them that lab testing first, because that's where all those direct-to-consumer lab testing companies are making billions of dollars, giving something now.
Right. People love the data too.
Yeah.
Heather says, this is flippin' fantastic. I agree, Heather. And the question she has is payment charged with the order or when the sample is returned and processed?
Joanne?
It depends on the payment options. If the patients would be, or the clients would be paying us, or their patients or the health coaches would pay us, they're going to pay for all that first before we will drop ship a kit or before they will get the order. Otherwise, if we are going to bill a credit card on file, those charges are to the card once those results have come back and reported online.
Right. Renee has a question. What if the practitioner resides in Delaware, but the patient resides in New Jersey or vice versa? Can testing be ordered? That's a sticky one. I've had that issue.
That is, and that's a pretty common question. If there are any health coaches that are in New York, New Jersey, Rhode Island that want to sign up for an account with Evexia, they do need to have an address outside of those 3 states. So assuming that they may be doing consulting and coaching for patients outside of that or clients outside of those 3 states. As far as actually being able to do testing for that, if it's going to be a LabCorp order, the patient or the client is going to need to go to a nearby state to have those drawn. They cannot go to New York, New Jersey, Rhode Island with a LabCorp order to have that done.
I think Connecticut wonders why they get so much traffic to their state. People are crossing state lines to get labs done, and you know, sometimes you have to be a bit creative, I guess. But anyway, if anyone wants to sign up, super easy. It's just $50 a year. And then you get all those resources. The resources alone are worth more than $50 a year. And then you get the opportunity to order the labs and get them signed off by a physician whenever you need. Just use that coupon code to waive the $250 fee. That's usually the setup fee to get an account with Evexia. And that's only a one-time fee. It's not like you pay that every year, and we're waiving it completely. So it's just super easy to get started with this. And I agree with Brian on, talking about the lab results. I think that really distinguishes you as a coach. Sometimes I'll put, you can't obviously post somebody's labs without their permission or without, taking their identifying information out. But you could show, like, look at this client, her hemoglobin A1C was 7.8 when we started. And, 4 months later, it's down to 4.9. Look at the difference, and you can show that. And you'll have people coming to you saying, oh my gosh, I need to get mine down, or I need to get my cholesterol, whatever. There's different, or my thyroid's all wacky. What should I do? So it does really help to post about that, and you'll have people asking it. It will really distinguish you as a coach. So anyway, any other questions anybody has? I think, let me see if there's any here.
Judy, I just want to make a comment real quick. We do get questions often on specialty labs that require a blood draw. So micronutrient test for SpectraCell, the NutraVal through Genova. We will provide third-party hospitals or clinics that can actually do that collection. So LabCorp will not do collections for outside labs, but we do have a very expansive list of third-party hospitals and clinics that can do those draws. We also do offer mobile phlebotomy services. It starts about $129 going to patients' homes. But we do a great job on that on a national basis. We've been doing that for several years, right when COVID hit, and doing a lot of COVID testing. But we do have several practitioners that do like that service of being able to have those labs drawn at clients' homes.
Great point. There's a question here. If you're working with a licensed nurse practitioner, are they able to order in New York, New Jersey, or Rhode Island? I mean, obviously, if it's just basic blood work, they're going to be able to order it without having to go through Evexia. But what about specialty labs? They can't do that, correct? Or can they?
The health coach's account is going to be set up as a non-licensed practitioner. So that
but if they are licensed, let's say that they're working with someone who's licensed, that licensed person sets up this account. Can they order specialty labs in those states, or you can't?
They still cannot order those labs to be
Even as a
shipped
license.
to New York, New Jersey,
Right.
Rhode Island.
Yeah, unfortunately. Okay. And this is really a game changer for coaches. Thanks for providing this service. You're welcome. And then I think that's it for questions, but thank you so much for joining us. Any last words, anything you'd like to leave them with before we go?
No, Jody, I just want to, I appreciate you inviting us on today, talk to your members and the coaches. And like it says, doing this consumer driven lab testing, it's a different way to market. And once you really start doing it, you'll start seeing people start calling and saying, hey, my colleague just got this. My mom just got this. You're literally opening up a whole new bag of worms, right? Of people saying, I want this test. And I heard you're the person that offers it.
Right.
And now you're building a need for your services. So, I would just encourage, just try it out, try a different way of marketing and using this using lab testing as a marketing tool.
Right, exactly. Oh, there is a question. If a health coach doesn't want to order labs, can they still use their other services? Like, can they sign up for $50 a year and then get access to the resources? Joanne?
Yeah, I would say,
Why not?
Why not? I would say, it's a great way for health coaches to learn on themselves and order some of the labs, to get familiar with that and to be able to have, Dr. Sodano chime in with any consultation.
Right. Okay. Great point that you just brought up too. If you want to, actually keep it up there on the screen, I guess, but I've become a lab rat. I'm on a first name basis, and I know my phlebotomist well because it's so amazing to do the labs on yourself first.
Yes.
So you get to really understand them and learn more about them. So I do a lot of labs on myself. I just got a whole huge panel back. In fact, Holly has a question. She says she's been using Evexia for Dutch and GI map via Emerson Ecologics and Wellevate. Now that Wellevate is owned by Fullscript, how will this change? Should I be working directly with Evexia? Yeah, I mean, Holly, if you already have an account, I would think you could just work directly with Evexia, right?
That's really up to the practitioner. There's really no reason to have two separate accounts.
Mm-hmm.
As we continue to finalize, Emerson and what's happening with Fullscripts, we have had clinicians that have had an Evexia account, and now they're launching Wellevate Labs, or what's going to happen with Fullscripts. There are, again, some other marketing solutions and the webinar content and a few things that are available only to Evexia clients that are not open on that Wellevate or a Fullscript side.
Right. So, all right. Well, thank you guys again for coming on. I hope a lot of you take advantage of this opportunity. And this will be, if any of you really want deep dives on functional medicine and learning more about labs, we have a list of schools with free classes and special coupons for money off these functional schools I believe it's in our resources in this group. If you look at that, if you get into this and you want to further your education, there's so many really great schools for this. I know if you search schools or functional medicine in this group, you'll see all the interviews I've done with different schools and things like that. But just start getting familiarized with labs, because I think that's the way everybody's really curious and they want the data on themselves. And this is a huge, huge opportunity. You could see it's billions of dollars in this field. So anyway, thank you, Brian and Joanne, so much for coming on board. And thank you for offering this amazing discount to our group. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jody. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care, everybody.